crime, and I'd like to call on Assembly Member Russell to ask the first question.
Thank you, Chair. And so, Mr Mayor, I want to talk about the cost of policing protests and the Capital City grant. The Met has been calling out the cost of policing various protests over recent months. Assistant Commissioner Twist told the Home Affairs Committee in December that 17 million was spent on policing protests in London in the 2 months after the 7th of October. Now, that by itself, 17 million, is more than the Met's budget line for communications and engagement, which gets broken out in the objective analysis in your budget. Now, we all want protesters and Londoners to be safe, and therefore for protests to be enabled by the Met with appropriate resources. Now, if the Met is saying that policing protest is having a huge impact on its work, shouldn't the Met have a dedicated budget line for policing protests, and wouldn't it help them wouldn't that help them give more evidence of the need for the government to fully fund the National and International Capital Cities grant?
So thanks for your question. I think one of the reasons why the police have been raising the issues of the impact on individual occasions on resources is to make the point for Nick to try and explain to the government that what was in 2015 and 16 a shortfall of £159 million in monies we should receive as a national and international capital cities grant allocation, that shortfall is now £240 million. Now, one of the reasons we're supposed to receive that money is because of things like policing protests. Look, I don't think we should be saying there shouldn't be protests because the government's not funding the police properly, and they're not funding the police properly, by the way. What I think the Met Police are trying to do is to show to the government in particular the consequences of being a capital city. And, we're hoping that the government understands that that shortfall is causing real problems on the police. It's not just protests, by the way, Premier League football games, state visits, the coronation. And so we're not saying those things shouldn't happen. We're saying the government realises London has additional pressures, they should be funding those pressures.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to leave it here, but I do also think that if they're going to tell us about the cost of policing some of these things, they should actually be telling us about the cost of policing all of them. But I'll leave it there.
Thank you. Assembly Member Hall, please.
Thank you. Mr Mayor, what is the final level of the new Met for London investment, which has